Hello, my fabulous fifth graders. Today's lesson is on adding and subtracting like fractions. My I can statement is I can use models and equations to add and subtract like fractions. So let's investigate what we know. Here we have a problem. It says Joy mowed 1/6 of her lawn on Saturday. She mowed 3/6 of her lawn on Sunday. How much of her lawn has Joy mowed altogether? Let's see how we can solve this. First, I've used a fraction strip representing 1 right here. This 1 represents her whole lawn. But she did not mow her whole lawn. She mowed 1/6 on Saturday and 3/6 on Sunday. We're going to use the 1/6 fraction pieces to model how much she mowed. So on Saturday, she mowed 1/6 of her lawn. On Sunday, she mowed 1, 2, 3/6 of her lawn. Since we have fractions that all have the same denominator, we can just add the numerators. 1/6 plus 3/6 equals 4/6. But we need to write our answer in simplest form. So, how do we find simplest form? We need to find the greatest common factor. So I'm looking for common factors of 4 and 6. Let's see. Factors of 4, 1, 2, 4. Factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. So our greatest common factor is 2. To find simplest form, I'm going to divide 4/6 by the big 1. And inside my big 1, I'm going to have my GCF, 2 over 2. Now, when I divide 4 by 2, I get 2. When I divide 6 by 2, I get 3. So 4/6 is equal to, or equivalent to, 2/3. Joy has mowed 2/3 of her lawn altogether. Here's another example. The length across the bell or top of a mushroom jellyfish is about 5/6 of a foot. If 2 mushroom jellyfish were placed side by side, what would be the combined length? Well, we're going to find 5/6 plus 5/6. Here's one way. We can use models. We can place 2 sets of 5 1/6 tiles side by side. So here's my first set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my second set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many do we have altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 1/6 tiles altogether. This fraction shows 10/6 or 1 2/3. It shows 1 2/3 because I know there are 6/6. This would be 1. There are 6/6 in 1, and then there are 4/6 left over. 4/6 in its simplest form is 2/3. So I have 1 2/3. Another way is to add the numerators and keep the denominator. Here I've got 5/6 and 5/6. Again, because they are like fractions and have the same denominator, I can simply add the numerators. 5 plus 5 equals 10. 10 what? 10 sixths. And when we write 10 sixths in its simplest form as a mixed number, we get 1 and 2/3. Here's a word problem we can practice. It rained 2/8 of an inch in 1 hour. It rained 4/8 of an inch the next hour. Find the total amount of rain. Write in simplest form. So I'm going to start with 2/8, and I'm going to add 4/8. Again, I know I have like fractions. That means I simply need to add the numerators. 2 plus 4 is 6. I keep the denominator. Now I need to put it in simplest form. To put it in simplest form, I need the greatest common factor. So I've got 6 and 8. Factors of 6 include 1, 2, 3, and 6. Factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. The greatest common factor is 2. So I'm going to take 6/8. I'm going to divide by my big 1. And what's inside my big 1? 2 over 2, because that's the greatest common factor. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So it rained 3/4 of an inch. Now that we've practiced adding like fractions, how can we subtract like fractions? Let's investigate a problem. Rita has 7/8 of a pizza. She eats 3/8 of the pizza. How much pizza does Rita have? Well, the first thing I've done is put out a fraction strip that represents the whole pizza. Now, Rita does not have the whole pizza. She has 7/8 of the pizza. I can model this with 7 1/8 strips. Now, I need to think, well, Rita is going to eat 1, 2, 3/8 of her pizza. And I need to count how much does Rita have left. She has 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/8 of her pizza. Now we're going to write this fraction in its simplest form. 4/8. Again, to simplify, I need to find the greatest common factor. Factors of 4 and 8. 4 is 1, 2, and 4. The factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. And I see that the greatest common factor is 4. I'm going to divide both the top and the bottom by my big 1. Inside my big 1 is the number 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Rita has 1/2 of her pizza left. So this is an example of how I can use models to represent subtracting like fractions. I took 1/8 fraction models. I found 7 of them, took 3 away, and looked to see how many I had left. Let's see another way we can subtract like fractions. Here's an example. About 7/10 of Earth's surface is covered by oceans. The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean and covers about 3/10 of the Earth's surface. How much of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans other than the Pacific Ocean? So, one way is to use models. They take 1/10 fraction models and lay out 7 of them. Then they remove 3 of the tiles. How many are left? 4/10. 4/10 is equivalent to the simpler form of 2/5. So 2/5 of Earth's surface is covered by oceans other than the Pacific Ocean. Just like when we added like fractions, we can subtract fractions that have the same denominator simply by subtracting the numerators. Because the denominators are the same and will stay the same, we can simply subtract 7 minus 3. 7 minus 3 equals 4. So again, I have 4/10. And again, 4/10 in its simplest form is 2/5. So 2/5 of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans other than the Pacific Ocean. Let's try another word problem. Chris spent 5/6 of an hour drawing and 2/6 of an hour reading. How much more time did he spend drawing than reading? Right, in simplest form. So I have 5/6. And I need to subtract 2/6 to find the difference between drawing and reading. Because the denominators are the same, making them like fractions, I can simply subtract 5 minus 2 over 6, which equals 3 over 6. However, I need to write 3/6 in simplest form. In order to do that, I find my GCF, factors of 3 and factors of 6. 1 and 3, 3 is a prime number, and 1, 2, 3, and 6. My greatest common factor is 3. Let's divide this fraction by the big one. 3 over 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Our final answer is 1/2. He spent a half hour more drawing than reading. So that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Today we learned how to add and subtract like fractions. Our I can statement is I can use models and equations to add and subtract like fractions. Go ahead and press pause now if you need a minute to write this down on your whisk. This will be our summarizing question. I want you to describe in complete sentences about a real world situation in which you would find 3/4 of a whole and subtract 1/4 of the whole. What would be your answer? And could you put it in simplest form? And finally, here is your cue. There are 2 questions, one with adding like fractions and one with subtracting like fractions. Be sure to put all answers in simplest form. Then, when you are finished, come up with a question of your own that shows what you learned today for your table mates to solve in our math circle. I look forward to seeing what you come up with today in class.